You're now listening to the Check 2 Studio podcast with your hosts, Austin and Trevor, bringing you the latest in video marketing and production.
All right, so today we're going back to the basics and the blocking and tackling, the fundamentals. What does that mean to you, Austin?
The bait and tackling, what? Bait and
blocking and tackling. This is football. This is
We're
American
going
football.
down to the bottom of the bowl. Get some of those rudiments.
So, okay, what does that mean to you?
What is a rudiment? It's like it's a unit of skill at the bottom of the bowl.
When we say the basic skills, we're talking about interview lighting. That's what we're going to go through today on a few different projects.
Yeah, if you're going to be out interviewing people, the art of making somebody look their best. If somebody's sending you out to capture interviews, you want to go out, depending on what your gear kit looks like, what kind of lights they're sending you out with. I noticed like a lot of people, they get a lot of freelance work. That's what they're doing a lot of. They're getting sent out, like we're sending you here, they get an address, they get a name, and they're going out to capture an interview. And maybe they'll have like a list of questions. For us, it's all, projects that we're producing. So we kind of have, we don't have anybody over our shoulder telling us what to get. So we're just going out trying to make people look their best because we want to get hired more. We want more work. We want people to see, hey, I hate talking in front of a camera. I always hate seeing pictures of myself because I think I look terrible. But these guys, they might be the guys make me look fabulous.
Yeah, we do hear that a lot. And usually it's because the people who lit you or videoed you or took photos of you didn't know what they were doing. So you look terrible. But I guarantee you're going to love the way you look.
Just like Men's Warehouse.
Just like Men's Warehouse. That's when we show up. We go, this is Men's Warehouse.
I always tell people that's because they didn't have the good-looking people camera. I have the good-looking people camera. I say, did anybody show up with the good-looking people lens? And if they say, well, I don't know, well, then the answer is probably not. So without further ado, I think we should look at maybe some different interview environments that we've been thrust into.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So let me get rid of this podcast intro here and let's go right into it. So this is a piece we did for a gentleman who owns a business, and his business is IT, information technology.
Yeah.
And he does IT. It's not like, fixing grandma's laptop or whatever. Like he works in some serious locations for some serious companies, and you know what? People's butts are on the line with the kind of work this guy is doing, right?
Yep.
Am I right? So let's go ahead and there's a little bit of a bit at the beginning. I'm just going to skip past that and let's go right into the interviews and a little bit of B-roll.
IT is critical for the manufacturing
Boom,
process.
stop right there. Tell me about what we're seeing right here.
So what we're looking at here is this is a CEO of a manufacturing company, and what basically the IT individual who we're working for, our client, wants testimonials. This was really our idea, not necessarily his. Finding ways to explain his story without having to put him in front, the actual owner of the business. Let his clients, his best clients, tell his future clients and prospects why this particular IT company is so good at what they do. And so we went on location to the manufacturing with Mr. Troy Nelson here.
Right, so let me break it down here for those that are just listening here. We've got a gentleman on screen. We've got two angles. We've got a wide and a tight, which is great for hiding cuts when people, maybe they can't, most people can't, in fact, just spit out their lines, one take, one go, on the spot. We're interviewing him. So it hides cuts. So what we're seeing is we're in a manufacturing facility. We turned all the lights out when we went in. It's a normal practice for us. And we put our own lighting. So we gave him a key light here on the right side of his face, and we've got a kicker in the background. And because we turned all the lights off, the manufacturing equipment is all in the dark. So we took a blue gel on a Aperture 120 and lit all that up. So it's a very high-tech look. It separates him out from the background. And that's what we're getting. So you see this yellow fringe over his hair. It's very... it's a pretty strong kicker. There's no subtlety here. It's a high-tech look. Yeah. It's a science fiction-y environment.
But the whole piece has that. It's kind of,
It's congruent.
Yeah.
Plus, we're a little heavy. This is earlier. This is an earlier piece. We've looked at much newer pieces recently. So, we're always learning. We're constantly evolving our technique to maybe be a little bit more subtle with things like this. But the guy looks great in this. And, amazing work, Trevor. I think you did a great job on this. How do you think I did?
I think you did a great job. And just to go a little bit further back, we're going to talk about the lighting, but
giving him like hilarious. There, that's better.
But also the process of this and what we do when we get on set. We show up. Hopefully, we've scouted the location first and had a plan prior to setting up the tripods and the cameras and all the lights and how we're going to light it. So we'll have a plan before we show up. But we're also, once everything is set up and we're rolling, your job, what you end up doing is really looking at the visuals. Sometimes you're also the audio person, depending on how big our crew is. I'm trying to pull out certain information. I am acting in the producer role to try to make sure we're hitting certain points and that it makes sense so that when we get to the editing floor, it's all going to work together.
The editing floor.
Yeah. The cutting floor.
So we've got a lot of interviews to get through. So let's go on to the next one here.
Yeah.
One last word on that is, we kind of knew what we were going for because we like we said, this is not for this person. This is for the person he's hired to do IT. Mm-hmm. This person has hired the person that's hired us, and we're gathering a testimonial. So we're trying to make our client look the best they can by saying, hey, look, these are all the important and great people that he works for. And these are the kind of things, these are the kind of odds that he's up against, like helicopters.
Ooh, yeah.
This is my favorite, dude. I love this one. Dude, I did amazing. Did you know that?
I would have to agree.
So this is obviously, this is with North Star Aviation. This is somebody he does IT for this group. And this one we have a little treat for. So we did a breakdown of this. So before we get into that, we see a wide and a tight. So just by judging by the scene here, if we're analyzing this, we can see she's lit up very well. We went again with our blue lighting on the helicopter, and it looks like we're in some sort of a hangar. So it just looked like this when we got there, right?
Nope.
No.
Let's see that before and after. Let's see that transformation.
So I have nope, that's not the right one. So we've got a time lapse here. Here it is of what it looked like. So I'll put this up on screen. And you see there's the kicker we had. That's one of those 55 watts. But so this is the door open. So when I showed up, I said, hey, I want the door shut. I want to put all these lights. So we're going to watch this transform into this in front of your eyes. Listeners, I'm sorry. You have to find us on YouTube.
Building a look.
And that's what turned that into that. So a couple of things we can point out. Inside this helicopter here, now we have the Aperture 120D with a blue gel on it with a Fresnel way back, and we're getting all this blue shine off the cold, hard metal exterior of this helicopter. It's a little bit reflective. It's kind of a matte black, so it's not making hard reflections. It's kind of a matte style. And then totally with permission, I went inside this helicopter and put some aperture panels. Actually, I had no permission to do that. What I'm trying to do right now is bring this back up so I can show you that. So you see here, the helicopter's door is, I had the guy, he was actually nice enough to take the door off. So you see right around here, now you can see that blue light is on, but we still have to get the lights off in the hangar. There we go. And here you can see the aperture panel right there with the yellow. It's actually just a tungsten balanced, but we're shooting daylight balanced key. So our camera's white balance is set to daylight. So these are looking extra yellow. And the blue is still incredibly blue, so we didn't lose any of that. And then you see this door here on the helicopter. I went in here, as you can see. That's pretty cool because I guess I was walking across with that panel, right? And then you see, like, there we go, lit up here inside the helicopter there. And you see our key lights going up over here, a couple of C-stands, and
some reflectors.
And that brings us to our final look here.
And that was a big commitment because we were in an active airport and it was super hot. But we wanted to get a great look and make sure that the final piece that was going to make it in for the testimonial looked great and sounded great.
Look at that tight.
It's amazing.
She is lit very well. So that's what we did. That's how we created that look. So moving on, like I said, we got more to do. You want to watch a little bit of this B-roll?
Oh, I love it. This is at a
smarter
data
support
center.
strategy, or you're simply looking to
And there's a
enhance
little
your
voiceover.
business's productivity.
Oh,
We
structural
are eager to
cabling,
help you run smarter.
racks.
It was the opposite of hot in this
clients
place.
rely on us.
Okay,
There we go.
there's the next interview. So same thing. This was a little bit different in this one because the other one was super high tech, and this is just an accountant because he does IT for lots of different kinds of people. He has lots of different type of customers, and we actually have a time lapse for this one too. So I think we got a really great look on this one. And what I really like about this is that the kicker is motivated by some stuff in the background. I actually haven't watched the time lapse of this, but I'll pull it up. There's already a C-stand in place, as I can see.
So yeah, that was the only thing that was there.
We moved your desk.
We reorganized the whole office so that it would look.
Look at the
decent.
position of the desk from the beginning to end.
Well, the other thing is we'd also moved a bunch of stuff next to her desk before that started. But yeah, you're seeing the transformation to get the look, because that's no accident.
And this the look that we got right there. It doesn't you're not going to show up and turn the camera on and get a look like that. It doesn't happen by accident in 99.9% of cases. Like maybe somebody just happens to have like the best lighting set up, but so we have this light with the twinkly lights on the background, and we turn the volume down so we can watch it in motion.
Yep.
And so we have a kicker up here, and even though this light, somebody watching this might believe that this light is kind of creating that, but it's not. But because this is in the background, it's connecting her with her environment. If you put somebody on a green screen, they're going to stick out like a sore thumb. We want to make sure that this person belongs in the scene. They're tied to their environment, yet separated from the background. So the background's here, but it's informing this light here on the side. Of course, she's keyed on the left. And we've got almost a perfect little Rembrandt little triangle right there on her cheek. So for those of you just listening, trust us, it's amazing. If you don't want to take our word for us, come on to YouTube and you can totally troll us and tell us how terrible we are.
Yeah, people are already doing it.
Well, Trevor, I think people watching, they can probably say like, oh, there's that yellow hair light that Austin always loves to give that preacher light.
Yeah.
He calls it the preacher light because it looks like he's at the podium in church and they got that recessed lighting above your head that's always up there in a church.
That halo.
And so we've got these lights. We did shoot blue light into the background, and the light on him is daylight balanced, and the hair light is tungsten balanced. It's a mixed lighting, but it's like all these colors going on. But look, it's very science fiction-y. It's very techy looking, and this guy's in charge of some serious stuff.
Some data.
Satcom direct data center.
Hardened data center.
So, and I think this guy was very tough to lock down. So I don't think we even had a wide and a tight on this guy. I think all we had was just the one angle, and he was in a big hurry. And this is a big, important man. But it was important to show because our client wanted to show, again, like I've already stated, that he works for important people where there's serious consequences on the line if he doesn't do his job right. And if people like this can trust him with their IT solutions, then you can trust him with his IT solutions. And that's what we're really driving home in this piece for Run Smarter IT. And again, there's some more B-roll. Check that out. You know what that is?
It's a Q.
It's max Q. That's the point at which in a shuttle launch, the shuttle reaches its maximum dynamic pressure. It's like at max Q.
Then that just figures that out.
Not
at all. All right, let's move on.
Okay. So a little bit more of
There's anything
her.
else in there?
And
That was a little skit.
We won't cover this little skit, but it's just kind of, maybe we'll watch a second of it. Oh, I turned the volume down.
Expensive and complicated.
Don't worry, Phil. We've got you covered. Our 90-day transformation process is here to solve all of these issues and the ones you didn't even know that you had.
That's great. Sounds like we really are running smarter.
Now you've got it.
Run Smarter IT, dude.
Run Smarter IT is complexity simplified.
Simplified.
Yep.
All right, moving on. Outdoors.
Ooh, exterior.
Exterior interviews, that's the black belt of exteriors, dude, because that's where you could really just mess stuff up.
You can mess
I'm
things up.
tempted to curse. Are we allowed to curse on the show? I don't even know.
Well, not really.
You could mess the bed. Let's put it that way. I think as Patrick O'Sullivan would say on his big projects, he would bloop the bed. So yeah, because you could really get some harsh shadows. So we didn't need a lot to do this, did we?
Oh man,
it didn't take a lot of implementation of lighting controls, did it?
Oh, we got the sun. That's for sure. It's lighting things up.
Here's what it looks like.
How are you going to control the sun?
Well, we've got a quarter stop grid on top overhead to just soften up any shadows. It was dang near. Look at the shadow on this tree.
Mean,
it's right in the worst type.
It was probably like 2 or 3. But in
some
Florida,
neg fill over
high noon
here
is like 6 hours.
We have our digital juice flag kit to make sure we can get some neg fill over here to get these ratios cooking. So we wanted to be able to show that, you know, there's some kids playing in the background there. We didn't want these kids, you know, they don't have a quarter stop diffusion grid over their head. So we didn't want them to be like so bright that and these guys be dark compared to the background.
Ours, or how they would feel about us having their children in our home. We quickly came to learn that
So we also did a longer piece for them, and we wanted to show a variety of locations. We didn't want to do all the interviews in one spot, so that's why we had to do this. Shoot some interviews outside, and also just to prove we can handle the job. I've seen some other local video people, some other local work where they went outside and the sun is just brutal. Like they've just the shadows on the face are just
super harsh.
It's insane,
contrasty.
And making the client look bad is not what you want to do.
We don't want that negative brand perception.
That's what business people and I like to call negative brand perception. But in that case, they were interviewing the owner of a business outside. Terrible harsh shadows on this guy's face, and he's the guy paying for the video. Like, no, you don't make the client look bad. You got to make the client look good, and that's what we wanted to do here. Make these guys look as best we could outside, and not have it look like just a terrible mess.
Yep, I think you achieved it. Some pretty basic. Well, you can go much more extreme on that stuff, but for us, that was definitely the most extreme for an interview. So
right, for outside. Now, we didn't use any lights. It's just all bouncing the sun around as best we can. You see there's a bounce in there and all that stuff. So moving right along, I think this is another one. This is in a gym. Gym with built-in green screen. I'll let you take the lead on this one, Trevor.
Yeah.
Tight.
So we were doing 2 pieces for the gym owner. This is the actual gym owner, and we did the same thing, a wide and a tight. And we wanted to have a little bit of activity, a little bit of interest going in the background, because if you have a gym and you just have a talking head, that's going to be real lame. So we had B-roll. I actually went to their session and picked up all the B-roll, but this particular piece, we had some people in the background doing some activity and similar layout, 3-point lighting and some kicker in the back there you can see, and then she's just beautifully lit, showing, flattering lighting.
Look at these highlights, dude.
Little flatter on females to make sure we're losing some of those shadows.
Talk about the kicker, man.
We got that magical kicker back there, giving a little glow on the hair.
Tell them about the kicker.
It's looking good.
What kind of kicker did we use?
Oh, that is the Kane Bolton 55-watt Fresnel with a little gold. Might even had a little extra gold on there too.
Extra gold.
Extra gold,
we
tungsten.
Daylight balanced the key, and we tungsten balanced the kicker. Why do we do that? It's just that church lighting, man. It's that preacher lighting. I've stopped doing that as much. A lot of times I'll give the kicker. If I can't find something in the background, like either those twinkly lights or something to motivate the kicker being a different color. Because really, like, if somebody's watching the scene, like, and if you're going for a completely natural, believable look, which a lot of people, that's what they want to do, you might think, like, hey, this light might be coming in from out a window.
Not everybody goes for the sci-fi look.
You know what might be a little bit more accurate is actually if we, instead of daylight balancing the key, if we tungsten balance the key because you're indoors, and we actually daylight balance the kicker because you're thinking, like, hey, maybe that light's coming in from a window. And if you had some windows in the background, you could go that direction. So just take the environment and let it motivate the scene and enhance the environment. What we were doing a lot of times, especially in our early work, is we're just throwing the environment away and saying we want this to look, we just want to like beauty light them and make it as off the wall as we can. It's not really believable. It's not really natural. But again, making the client look good. I'm not going to say we did the wrong thing there, because we made the client look good, and that's what they care about. And when they put these videos on Facebook, they put them online, if they put them, if they buy airtime on TV, that's a little window for people to look into their world, to find out who is this person, and if they're lit dingy, if they're, if they're overexposed, or if they have harsh shadows on their face, the client's just not going to be happy with the piece if they don't look good. They want to look good, and that's what we have to provide to them. And also we have to show their face the best we can, because they're connecting with their audience.
Yeah.
They're talking about their brand, their philosophy for why they do what they do, and we want that passion to come across for the client, and that's what we do.
I think the other thing too, it really depends on what color hair you're bouncing into when you're choosing that light, because there's a lot of people who have white hair that it's a lot more kind of poofy, and you start to blast into that, and it looks really crazy. She had real dark, sleek hair. So even though this was an early piece and maybe we were overcooking some of our talent, for her, because her hair was so dark, it was less of an issue. Whereas we got some people with white hair that was real fringy, and those ones got overcooked pretty bad for a few of them. But
are we gonna air that dirty laundry? Because I could show it.
I'm just saying, I think that's a lesson learned. We got a little bit luckier with her. That
you want to see where we messed up? Here's a little bit of a mess up. I mean, it looks fine. I mean, she's got white hair, but I mean, what's the key really doing in this other than just exacerbating that? And we could have maybe done something a little different.
Yeah,
we maybe could have done something different. But you know what?
So take the hair color into account.
She still looks good though.
Yeah,
she still looks good. So and opposed to some of the other companies in our area that aren't lighting interviews at all, they're showing up and filming. Maybe that gives us a little liberty to mess up a little bit, but we don't want to mess up. We want to do the best we can. We're constantly learning, and we're constantly having you guys come in and tell us how terrible we are. So come in and tell us how terrible we are. Tell us where we messed up, man.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear about. Tell us about times you messed up. Tell us about what you like about it. We're open to all of that. Continuing the discussion on YouTube, you guys can get over if you guys are listening to this as a podcast. Hopefully we've motivated you to get on over to the YouTube channel so you can see what we're talking about. And we'd love to hear about the productions you're doing and what you're working on. So let us know. Our channel's still small enough to where we can engage with you. So we can talk to you. If you comment, you're going to hear from us. We're going to be able to tell you what you think. If we continue this and the channel gets huge, I'm not promising that anymore. I'm promising that for now.
Well, you can also engage with us on the Facebook group. So we're really trying to be a little bit more one-to-one.
Hey, man, tell them about the Facebook group.
Yeah, the YouTube channel obviously is just comments, but really more back and forth and sharing links and your own work and us being able to discuss and talk with you. We would love to do that on the Facebook group. So just go to Check 2 Studios. There's a page and there's a group. The page was kind of just mandatory for Facebook. Really, the group is where we're really looking to see you all and your work and specific comments on the podcast. What would you like to see? What would you like us to talk about? So come join us there.
Hey, Trevor, you know what?
What?
It's 11 p.m. right now.
Oh, man.
So I think maybe we should shoot first.
Ask questions later.
That's right.